Alright, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to start with, the workflow of the backend, like, what all tools you use and what's the role of each of the tool that we're going to use, right? And I'm going to give you like a really, really easy method to set up all of those on an online service or, yeah. So let's just start with that, right? So, but that is basically known as the backend workflow, right? There's no actual use of this heading. I just put this there to, I don't know, right? So now this is a lot of server-side code, which is like a really, really basic app, which you do not need to know at this point of time, right? The only reason I'm showing you this is that you will have something like this on the server side inside VS Code. What I'm aiming to show you in this video is actually like what is done where, and then how is all of that connected, and how does the app then run, right? And right, so this is some code. You don't even need to know what's happening in this right now. We'll spend a whole lot of time on this. These are routes, and this is what we are going to set up for the rest of the course, right? Different types of routes and all of them, and everything will require routes. So you can see the comment I've put up here, making routes. So that's really simple, and you will eventually get to being really comfortable with this small amount of code here, and that wouldn't be a problem. For right now, you can see that I've just written some code here, and just to give you an overview, right? What's happening here is, let's start with this. Tell Express to listen for requests, right? Basically, this app.listen is telling that this app needs to run at port 3000, right? And that's why it says serving on port 3000. This is basically setting up the server. Again, don't worry about the syntax. Just know that, okay, I'm setting up the server on port 3000, right? What does that actually mean, right? So if I select this, right, this is my terminal, and if I clear this and I go into this folder, right? So I'm in my main folder here, right, which has my app. So if you see right here, this is in a folder named First Express app, right? This was the first app that I made using Express.js, right? And I'm in that folder now. If you see here, I'm in the First Express app folder in my terminal, right? So first of all, what this is a terminal. If you have never been introduced to this, then this is known as a terminal on Mac, right? And this will be different for you if you're on Windows. Like on Mac and Linux, the terminal is actually the same, but if you're on Windows, then you will have the, I think, command prompt, which has different syntaxes than the terminal, and that's why you will not find any of the developers using Windows command prompts, right? But I'm going to give you a really, really easy alternative to all of this in this video itself. For now, you just need to know what's happening, right? So this is a terminal, and if you're wondering how that actually comes, you can search for terminal here, and you can open this thing right here, right? And that will give you this. So in this, you're always in a directory, right? So I'll close this once and I'll open this again. So this is what this looks like when you open it, right? You're in your root directory, the home directory of your laptop, right? Or your PC, whatever it is. Then you can simply migrate to your simple folder. Now all of these commands we are going to see later on, so you don't need to worry about that. But actually today is going to be all about this command prompt, right? So like this terminal. So you don't actually have to worry about that. But for now, I'm just telling you that you will always be in a folder. So what I do is I go into that folder. Right now I'm in my First Express app folder, and what I can do is, again, don't worry about what I'm doing here. What I basically did here now was that this was some code, right? This was some code, and here we were saying that we have to listen for commands on port 3000. Now what does that mean? To show you what that means, I basically had to start the server, right? So I start the server from here, and now here I go to localhost 3000 and I get hi there. Now how am I getting this hi there thing, right? How am I actually getting this? So if you look here, this is known as something like routes, right? What routes basically mean is that localhost 3000 will now be common to our site as long as the server is running. If we visit localhost 3000, we are visiting the app which is represented by this code, right? So after that, depends on what we have. Depending on what we have after that, like you could have a URL like this. So depending on what we have, we are outputting something, right? So this is currently localhost 3000 slash slash, and not having a slash after this is basically the same thing. It doesn't make a difference, right? So here's this localhost 3000, and here you can see what I'm doing. I'm saying that if I have a slash, right, if I have a get request to a slash, then I have to print hi there. Now don't worry about the syntax again, right? And right, so this is another similar route saying that if I have slash bye, then I have to print goodbye, right? Let's see if that's happening. I go to slash bye and I get goodbye, right? And similarly, if I have slash dog, it should send meow, right? Weird, but all right? And I'm getting that. And similarly, this is a really complex name. You will not get this right now, and this is again a complex name. But what's basically happening here is I'm telling that if there's a get request to slash, then I have to print hi there, right? And this is not just a thing that you can do with your browser. Here we're going to revisit Postman. So my server is actually running on localhost 3000 right now, right? So what I can do is I can do localhost 3000 and I can go to slash, and you see I get a simple hi there, right? So what's basically happening is I get a request to slash and it prints hi there. And if you see my terminal right now, it says get and get to buy, get to dog, meaning this was a get request to slash, this was a get request to slash, this was a get request to slash, this was a get request to buy slash buy, right? And so on. Now again, you might be really confused about what I've actually done here, but you don't need to actually know the syntax. What you need to know is I set up what will happen when in my code editor. I started my server using my terminal, right? And then I visited the pages using a browser. So these are the three main components that you would need in any web development app, right? Because you will have to always set up your routes, meaning that what you have to do when in your code editor. All the logic goes in the code editor. Starting of the server goes in the terminal, right? And accessing the website actually goes in the browser, right? Again, this might be really complex to you, like what is localhost, what is all this code, this looks really weird, we don't know how this is, right? Because you know JavaScript and this is JavaScript, but what's this? You can't tell, right? But anyway, you will get to know all of that in the backend. That's what the backend is all about. And right, so now the thing is that to get this running, you need a lot of things on your computer, right? Now I currently have the terminal, the browser, and the code editor built. We have the code editor downloaded, browser you obviously have, and terminal or command prompt is inbuilt in the laptop when you buy it. So that's not a problem, but you need to do multiple things. One, you need to install Node. Second, you need to install MongoDB, and if you are on Windows, you need to actually download this terminal, right, using the git bash terminal. So while you can do that, I still recommend that this is the initial thing, right? So you can run into a lot of problems in this. Like I set up my local environment when I was studying, but a lot of people in my course did not, right? And that is because if you are programming for the first time and like if you're setting this up, then there are a lot of problems that you could run into while downloading Node.js or while downloading MongoDB. So and you will get like large errors. Then what you can do is you can send me those errors and I can solve them. But there's a chance that there'll be a whole lot of errors and you will be stuck at that point for a long amount of time. So while I do recommend setting up a local environment eventually, for this particularly now, when we do not actually have done anything in the backend, I recommend that you get to this Goorm ID, right? So what you can do is you can search for Goorm ID, and you will get this first link, ide.goorm.io, and you click this, you will get to this page, right? A simple this page. So now here you need to go to sign up, and what this basically will be is an online environment for the same thing that I'm doing here. You will have this code editor, this terminal in the same place, and that will not be running on your own system. That will be running on a server somewhere else, right? I mean, that will be saved on a server somewhere else, a cloud system in, I don't know, where the Goorm ID is, made or what all. So I'll give you a demo in this video only, don't worry. But what you actually have to do is go to sign up, and then you have to enter your details. Let's make the site. So enter your email, click on verify, and then you'll get a verification email. So now you have to verify that, right? So I'll quickly do that. So you'll have this kind of a screen when you're on the verification email, when you open the verification email, and you just need to click on confirm email address, and it will take you to a new tab where this will happen. It'll say email verification completed. Please go back to the sign up page and proceed with your sign up. So that's exactly what we're going to do. You need to enter a name. Right? So now you can just, I'm going to uncheck this. You can check this if you want. And now you click on sign up. And they want a stronger password. Right. So I'll uncheck this and I click on sign up. So now that will make your account for you. Just wait for a minute. And now it will ask you what your job is. You can select anything here, doesn't actually matter. But I'm going to select developer. And languages, you can say JavaScript, right? And you can save. The changes have been saved, right? And now it redirects you to this weird page right here, which you don't know what it is, right? So now your Goorm account is actually set up, and what you need to do now is press on click create container, right? In here you name your container. I'm going to name it, right? And description, right? And region, you can select anything, of course. I'm assuming you're from India. If you're not, then obviously select whatever you're from. Visibility, you can keep this like it's your choice. Template, leave these two as they are, right? And now this is the stack, and the stack we are going to use is the Node.js stack, right? So be sure to select this Node.js thing right here, right? And then the template, let it be Node.js project. OS, let it be this Ubuntu. And this is again important. Check install MongoDB and upgrade Node.js. I mean, this is optional. You could work without this, but yeah. So do this, and next you can just click on create. Oh, it wants no spaces. All right. So now I press create, and this will take a few minutes to get created. We can just wait until then. And now the terminal is running some commands. They're like installing the things that you asked them to install. Right, so I cut the portion in between, and now our container has been successfully created. So when you are on this screen, you just click go to dashboard, and in here you must have a new container. So now you can go run. You could directly press run there too, but just to show you that a new container is added to your profile, you have this, right? And again, this will load something for the first time, and great. So now you have a whole environment setup, right? And what's actually this? And let's see. So this is your side project window, right? Something like this we are going to use a lot. This is similar to this that I've been showing to you in a lot of places, that this will have your basic folder structure. If you add a new thing here, you can add a file folder or a sub project, and you can open files from here by clicking on them, right? And that will open a file for you. So now they already have one file added for a demo, and they've simply got function main and console.log hello Goorm. So if you actually want to run this function, what you can do in here is, so if I list this out, again, these are just basic command prompt commands, so don't worry about them. But this down here is your terminal, which is a replacement for this. And doesn't matter if you're on Windows or Mac or Linux, this terminal is common for everyone, and this is the kind of terminal that does work in a development environment, right? So we have this, and just to give you an idea, you can type out node main.js, and you see that prints out hello Goorm. Now, how did this happen? What actually is this? A whole lot of things. Don't worry about that. That's what we're going to see later. But now we see that we have a code editor here. You can write new code in this, and you can call this again. You can call this again and again and again. And now if you save this, and so now you see there's this, if this is a star, means your code is not saved. And if this becomes a cross, then your code is saved, I guess, because I've not used Goorm IDE. Honestly, I personally prefer my local development environment, and I'm going to work on my local environment, but it's actually the same thing. There's no difference at all, right? So you see it gets printed 4 times because it was executed 4 times. So this is your basically the place where you will be writing your code for the rest of the course, and now you can just simply do whatever you want here, and this will be a code editor. This will be a substitute to VS Code. However, if you are setting up a local environment and you are able to set that up correctly, like I'll put the videos, the link to the videos in the description. I'll find some good videos and I'll link to them about how to set up Node, how to set up Mongo, and then you can view them and set up your local environment if you want to. But if you are running into errors or some problems, then you can simply set up a Goorm IDE, because this is actually the same thing and as powerful as your normal local development environment. There's no difference at all, except this is saved on Goorm servers, right? And installing things, like currently this already has Mongo and your Node installed. Like I typed something here and this happened, means Mongo is already installed. Now don't worry what I typed and what happened, but Mongo is installed. That's why this is running, otherwise it would not run, right? So you have Mongo installed, you have Node installed, and you didn't have to do any complex installations, right? So that's why Goorm is actually helpful for newcomers. And if you're setting up a development environment, this is a substitute for VS Code. This is a substitute for a terminal. If you're in Windows, then you'll have to download Git Bash terminal, right, separately. And yeah, your thing will still run in the browser, but everything else is in this Goorm IDE, and you can use this, right? Great. So now we have this setup, and that's what the backend workflow was all about. That I wrote code here. I executed that from the terminal, and I run that in my browser, right? And I'll be using my local development environment, but whatever I'm writing here you can write in here, that will work the same. And whatever I'm writing in my VS Code, you have to write here, that will be the same. If I'm adding a new file, add a new file from here, and let's say name it secondary.js. So it will make you a file. Then you have to write your code here, and let's say you write console.log right. So this is saved now, and what you can do is, so to clear this, you can type clear, right, without the function syntax. And now if I type, what's happening basically here is that this secondary.js file is being executed when I write this, and it says hello, I am the secondary file, means this is running. So you can do multiple things like this, and I know you might be very confused at the end of this video. Why? Because you don't actually know anything that you've seen here, right? The only thing that you might have understood that you have to set up Goorm IDE, and that is perfectly fine. This was just to show you that we need 3 places actually in which we can execute our program. And basically this was the use of those 3 places. One was writing code, second was starting the server, and doing all the server related work is in the terminal, and then accessing your site through the browser. And all these 3 are present here, right? Great. So yeah, this was the Goorm IDE, and that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll start with commands, with the basic commands for this terminal, right? And terminal, yeah, I'll introduce you to the terminal in the next video. And yeah, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.